sound of a distorted, high-pitched kick drum and a euphoric piano riff begins, then fades slightly into the background. It was a sound born from the darkness, a furious, candy-coated rebellion against the grim and the serious. A sonic explosion of cartoonish energy and relentless positivity that seemed almost alien in the shadowy, sweat-drenched warehouses where it first took root. This wasn't just music. It was a declaration of joy, a high-speed chase towards euphoria that would either leave you grinning from ear to ear or running for the exit. From the illegal raves of the UK underground to the colossal arenas of mainland Europe, this is the story of how happy hardcore, the most misunderstood and relentlessly cheerful genre in electronic music, clawed its way into the mainstream. A story of pitched-up vocals, earth-shaking kick drums, and a generation that simply refused to stop smiling. This is the gripping, addictive, and unbelievably fast history of happy hardcore. To truly understand where happy hardcore came from, we have to rewind to the early 1990s, a time when the UK rave scene was fracturing. The initial unity of acid house had splintered into 1,000 different directions. One of the most dominant and aggressive new sounds was breakbeat hardcore, a frantic mix of breakbeats, heavy bass lines, and sampled steps. But as the decade progressed, the sound itself began to split. One path led into the dark, complex, and menacing world of jungle and drum and bass, a soundscape defined by intricate rhythms and a shadowy, urban atmosphere. The other path, however, went in the complete opposite direction. A contingent of DJs and producers, feeling that the scene was becoming too dark, too serious, and too obsessed with chin-stroking complexity, decided to inject a massive dose of fun back into the music. They wanted energy, but they wanted it with a smile. This movement began in pockets across the UK and in creative hubs like Belgium and the Netherlands. Producers started taking the foundational elements of hardcore, the fast tempos, typically ranging from 160 to 180 beats per minute, and the powerful, distorted kick drums and pairing them with wildly different ingredients. They stripped out the moody, dark samples and replaced them with bright, anthemic piano riffs borrowed from Italian house music, soaring female vocals, often pitched up to a chipmunk-like squeal, and silly, cartoonish sound effects. The breakbeats that defined early hardcore were gradually phased out in favor of a driving, relentless forward-to-the-floor kick drum pattern, creating a sound that was less rhythmically complex, but infinitely more energetic and direct. Early pioneers like DJ Slipmint, DJ Seduction, and Scott Brown were at the forefront of this sonic shift, crafting tracks that were unapologetically cheerful and designed for one purpose: to create a sense of collective, hands-in-the-air ecstasy on the dance floor. This new style was raw. It was unsophisticated, but it was undeniably effective. It was the birth of happy hardcore. As the mid-90s dawned, happy hardcore exploded out of the underground and became a full-blown subculture in the UK. The scene developed its own distinct identity, complete with a unique fashion sense involving brightly colored tracksuits, baggy trousers, and brand names like Helly Hansen and Burberry. The music was disseminated through specialist record shops and, most importantly, through massive rave events held in sprawling venues like Helter Skelter, Dreamscape, and United Dance. These events were legendary, drawing thousands of ravers from all corners of the country to dance from dusk till dawn. A key component of the culture was the tape pack cassette recordings of live DJ sets, sold at the events themselves or via mail order. For a generation of young people living outside the major cities, these tapes were a lifeline, a direct connection to the heart of the scene, allowing them to experience the energy of the rave in their bedrooms, cars, and on their Walkmans. The MCs, or masters of ceremonies, became just as famous as the DJs, their rapid-fire rhymes and crowd-hyping chants an essential part of the live experience, with names like MC Sharky, Mexi Chi, Q becoming legends in their own right. The music itself continued to evolve. A wave of anthems defined this golden era. Tracks like Toy Town by Hixie and Sharkey, with its nursery rhyme melody and pounding beat, became a defining track, perfectly encapsulating the genre's blend of childlike innocence and ferocious energy. Force and Styles' Heart of Gold showcased the epic, emotional side of the genre, with its soaring vocals and unforgettable piano line, becoming a rave anthem that is still sung word for word by fans today. Other tracks like Pretty Green Eyes by Ultra Beat, though a bit later, it carried the same spirit, and Scott Brown's Elysium demonstrated the sound's potential for crossover appeal. The scene was a phenomenon, but it remained largely a UK-centric one, often looked down upon by the mainstream music press and the more serious electronic music communities who dismissed it as juvenile and simplistic. However, a seismic shift was about to happen across the channel. While the UK was deep in its own happy hardcore bubble, a parallel and even more commercially potent scene was developing in mainland Europe, particularly in the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. Here, the sound evolved into what became known as Eurodance on steroids, or more commonly, happy gabber or mainstream hardcore. The European variant took the core tenets of UK happy hardcore, the high tempos, euphoric melodies, and pitched up vocals, but polished them for a mass audience. The production quality became slicker, the melodies even more infectious, and the kick drums often harder and more distorted, borrowing from the Dutch gabber scene. This European sound was less about the raw, breakbeat-infused energy of the UK underground, and more about creating stadium-sized pop anthems. This is where things went stratospheric. Artists and groups from the Netherlands and Germany began to dominate the European pop charts with this high-energy sound. The group Dune from Germany scored massive hits with tracks like Hardcore Vibes and Can't Stop Raving, which blended trance-like melodies with pounding hardcore beats. From the Netherlands, Nakatomi's Children of the Night became a pan-European anthem, but perhaps the biggest and most globally recognized act to emerge from this movement was Scooter. Led by the charismatic frontman H.P. Baxter, this German group took the happy hardcore formula and turned it into a global phenomenon. Their formula was simple but devastatingly effective. Take a catchy, recognizable riff, often sampled from another famous song, lay it over a thunderous beat, and top it off with Baxter's iconic, nonsensical shouting. Tracks like Hyper Hyper and How Much Is the Fish were utterly bizarre, yet they sold millions of records and filled arenas across Europe. They became the unlikely global ambassadors for a sound that had started in illegal UK warehouses. The European mainstream had not only embraced happy hardcore, it had transformed it into one of the biggest commercial forces in popular music of the late 1990s. The story of happy hardcore is a testament to the power of pure, unadulterated fun. It's a genre that has been ridiculed, dismissed, and declared dead countless times, yet it refuses to fade away. It's a sound that's been passed down through generations, from the original ravers in the 90s to a new wave of producers and fans, discovering its infectious energy through the internet today. Its influence can still be heard, echoed in the high-energy drops of modern EDM, the hyperpop scene, and in the enduring legacy of the rave anthems that still have the power to unite a dance floor in a shared moment of pure, uninhibited joy. It proved that music doesn't have to be dark, complex, or serious to be meaningful. Sometimes the most profound statement you can make is just a relentless, thumping beat and a melody that forces you to smile. Because in the end, the history of happy hardcore isn't just about fast music. It's about the simple, radical, and enduring pursuit of happiness itself.